Welcome to the Matrix Unveiled.
Your feeble efforts amuse me, human.
Hello and welcome. What an absolute pleasure. My name's Paul, and this is The Matrix Unveiled, a podcast to go with the books, the course, the website, all of which are still in the making, but I just could not wait to get out there to meet like-minded folk and folkesses. So as I say, my name's Paul, and I am a coach, holistic life coach, and a publisher at Self-Power Publications. And together with my co-authors and cohorts, Theo and Tico, well, we'll introduce ourselves in due course. But I'm the main man, the front man, the podcaster extraordinaire, and I'm really excited that you're here for the inaugural Matrix Unveiled podcast. Don't forget, if you like it, rate us on iTunes. And what we're going to cover here today is an overview, obviously, of what the heck this is all about, and why we're here. And really, it's a poignant example of me and Theo and Tico, a combination. We've known each other for over 4 decades, and we've learnt a lot in that time about business, about strategy, about philosophy, about personal transformation. And my God, there's stuff going on that people need to know about. I don't mean people need to change necessarily, because, well, quite frankly, it's a bit... That's not what we're about here at Matrix Unveiled. What we are basically here to tell you is how the world really works. And why, I'm going to go out on a limb here and suggest that you probably, or possibly, aren't the happiest that you might be. That life hasn't quite worked out as you anticipated. Perhaps you're even miserable, perhaps depressed, perhaps unhappy with the turn of events that have so far transpired in your life. Many people are, I would say, 90 plus % of the world's population are miserable, trapped in a life situation that they can't see any way out of, that they are both physically and mentally trapped and broke. Miserable, trapped and broke. That is, I suggest, the situation of almost all of the world's population, and it's a terrible state of affairs. But this podcast and the Matrix Unveiled is not about starting any revolutions, at least not in the traditional sense of the word. Maybe a peaceful one, a peaceful revolution would be nice, with compassion and respect and a loving attitude. Because no matter where you are in life, if you do consider yourself to be perhaps miserable, I'm not saying you are, perhaps trapped, and I'm not saying you are, and perhaps broke, and you probably aren't, not in the true sense of the word. If you can afford some equipment to listen to a podcast on, for example, probably me. And just to sidetrack here, 1 in 7 people, about 15 to 20% of the world's population, don't know where they're going to sleep tonight, and they don't know what they're going to have for breakfast tomorrow. Isn't that staggering in a world of 7 to 7.5 billion people, that 15 to 20% of those people don't even know where they're going to lay their head tonight? Isn't that atrocious? And you see, this is why we feel that we need to show the world what the heck is going on, because I don't believe it is coincidence that we have so many destitute, And yet at the top of the tree, we have a tiny, tiny few thousand people with control of huge wealth, mega rich. Maybe 1/10,000th of 1% of the world's population have both the ability to acquire vast wealth and to wield tremendous power. So a tiny number of people, as I say, about 1/10,000th of 1% of the 7 to 7.5 billion people on this planet, about that small amount. How do they control the world? Because they do. Because if they didn't, there wouldn't be so many people destitute. Well, this is what Matrix Unveiled is all about. There are many, many people who, well, don't want to know. Their lives are simply waking up in the morning and trundling through another miserable day. They don't want to be woken up. They don't want to be told that there is something they can do about their miserable state of affairs. It's staggering, really, isn't it? But most people don't want to know, and that is, of course, a major part of how the world's populations are controlled by those with the power and the knowledge. See, it's not just, we've got power, but you can't really have power until you know what the heck is going on, and that's what Matrix Unveiled is all about. We are going to take a few people, those few souls, those happy few that want to know what's going on. We're going to give you that knowledge. So the vast majority of the populations of the world live in ignorance, and they are happy to do so. They all need to be shaken awake, and one day they will be. But that isn't our job here. Our job here is to unveil to those people that do want to know, that are awake and can see that there's some terrible things going on. And we are here to help those people that are waking up. We're here to help you seek the knowledge that you deserve to know. And then we're going to move people from the hall of ignorance to the hall of knowledge, and then you will apply that knowledge, and from that becomes wisdom. Now, there are, like I say, a few people on this planet, not many, that know there's something terrible going on, and some of those people would either take the revolutionary violent path, the Mavericks and the Revolutionaries, or they would take an altogether more... I'm not going to use that word, but let's just say that they are the hippie type, those who just want to lay back and smoke some weed and hide from the world. And then there are a few others, and these are the only people that we're addressing in Matrix Unveiled. Those few people that want to take power back into their lives, personal, individual power, and they don't want to be led by the elite. They want to take control of their own lives, but they don't feel the need to go blowing people up and basically telling other people how to live their lives. They like to keep a low profile, but they like to have the knowledge which they can apply to live a powerful life, happy and free. And not destitute, not miserable, not trapped, not broke. And that's what we're all about. To come away from that terrible state of affairs and to impart our little knowledge over 40 years of searches we've come to know quite a bit, and we are happy to help you on your path in this podcast, and at our site, at our forum, and in our courses and books. Who are we? We are the nouveau riche. Yes. We don't necessarily have monetary wealth, although we're not doing bad. But what we have is knowledge. We have knowledge of the 6 types of con artists that are taking value from you and from every other person on this planet, taking it using 8 different tactics, 8 arrows in their quiver, weapons, if you like. They are taking value, whether that's money or time or your skills, your efforts, your freedom. They're taking stuff without giving back. And that is, of course, how they become tremendously wealthy and tremendously powerful. But there's nothing saying that we have to give just because they're asking to take. Most people are happy to give because they want to keep their heads down. And what's it? You get born, you keep your head down, and you die, if you're lucky. Now that is a quote from a comedy series with Rick Mayo and Aid Edmondson called Bottom, from I don't know, a couple of decades back now, I suppose. But it always struck home with me. Most people just want to get born, keep their head down, and die. Well, no. Not those of us who want to become self-leaders. But in order to become a self-leader, we need power. Power to take control of our life. And in order to get the power, we need knowledge. Knowledge of what these 6 con artists are and what their 8 tactics might be, for example. So this is your chance to learn how to sidestep the con artists and avoid their tactics, to break free from being miserable, trapped and broke, and find your path to freedom, power and happiness. And you cannot have one without all 3, if you think about it. In order to be powerful, you need knowledge, but of course, as we've said, but in order to be free, you need power. And to be happy, you need to be free. So freedom, power and happiness are the 3-in-1 of Matrix Unveiled. So where do we start? Well, study Matrix Unveiled and listen to the podcast. That would be my advice. And we certainly welcome you along and hope you enjoy the journey. And the best thing to do really for us and for you is to let us know what it is that you are particularly interested in. We can talk about the icon artists, and we will do in future episodes, and their tactics, the weapons that they use to extract values from you and everybody else on this planet. But if you've got particular questions, comments and queries, then we'd be happy to talk about that as well on the podcast, or at the blogs, on the Facebook group. There is a Facebook community page called Self Power. I can't remember what it's called. I think it is called Self Power Community, is it? Bear with. Oh no, Self Power Foundation, of course it is. Self/Power Foundation. You're going to hear a lot about our thoughts on self-power as we move along. And I can't wait to do so. Alright, so I think that is what we're going to have in our inaugural podcast. We've just overviewed that we are aiming this podcast and all our Self-Power Foundation activities to those very few number of people that A, want to wake up, and B, want to do something about it in a peaceful, compassionate, respectful way. And we're not about violence, we're not about anarchy. What we are about is providing knowledge, and how you apply that knowledge, you will gain your own wisdom. But we aren't here to tell you how to apply that knowledge necessarily. We can direct and guide. Well, no, we can't direct, because this is everything about what we stand for is about self-leadership, about you learning how to become a self-leader. But before we've got to learn to walk before we can run, and you need to understand how the world works before you can take on the mantle of becoming your own self-leader. So that's our first job, is to unveil the matrix, what's really going on. And so Matrix Unveiled, the podcast, is sponsored by Self-Power Foundation, the community page on Facebook. We look forward to you liking us and your contributions at the page. We shall look forward also to your feedback and questions. Now, I suggest at this stage, as we don't have any method of recording anything, or we don't even have a blog, but what we do have is the Self-Power Foundation community page, where any questions about this podcast or any other thoughts that you have, please don't hesitate to let us have them. We'll look forward to that, and to meeting you, because I'm very this is our life's purpose. And when I say our, remember, it's Paul here, but also Theo and Tico. We are here to impart our knowledge, but also to be your friends. Oh, it sounds so cheesy, doesn't it? But no, we are genuinely here to offer support, friendship, and communication, so that we can all journey towards the truth of what is happening. Like I say, we aren't going to form a revolution, but we can help those who want to be helped. And that's, we can't ask for more than that. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to thank you for listening. And please feedback what you think about this podcast on the Self-Power Foundation community fan page on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Self-Power Foundation. See you there. And you'll take care.